How's it going, guys? And welcome to your Walking Dead review. This is the season finale. I have to say, you look at this episode, and you gotta say about the fans, the trash talk, the show, for the whole season, saying that this was a boring season, that the show had jumped the shark. I mean, I don't really know what the complaint's about, but everybody had a complaint about everything. Oh, the bullets containing the guts from the walkers, the blood from the walkers. Oh, this is B-movie stuff. This is nonsense. This is, everybody had a complaint seemingly about everything. And it was really starting to wear on my nerves after a while, because I hate when I see people making an effort, meaning the show's creators, to really make sure that these episodes entertain people, and we're getting a sense of story, and the characters in the story are coinciding, and they're making progression, and they're doing new things. They're trying to entertain us in different ways, and try to shock us in different ways. And the lack of appreciation from the so-called fans, I mean, they're so closed-minded. I mean, to the fact where they even said something ridiculous, and this was coming out from a lot of people. I understand that the governor, he was a good character, and up until that point in the series, we didn't have a main villain, so seeing the governor was something. But, I mean, guys, the job that Jeffrey Dean Morgan is doing as Negan, I mean, it's such an amazing job. It's such a great performance. It's something where I couldn't even imagine another actor playing that role. Same thing with the governor. I probably couldn't imagine anybody else doing that role. But the simple fact of the matter is that one is so clearly better than the other. And I noticed that it's the vocal minority. Ratings are still very high for this show. It's the vocal minority. You have that group of people that are just very, very hard to please, whatever the case may be. I mean, they're watching the wrong show, obviously, for what it is. I mean, they instituted more action in this season, probably in the first half, more in the second half, than any other season there was. The last time we saw that much action, it probably was, around the time when the governor's people that attacked the prison. I mean, that was back in season 4 or so. Season 4, maybe 5. I mean, it had been quite a while since we had seen that level of action. So, maybe people just weren't used to it. I mean, but the thing is, they were making the comparisons of how it should go. And the thing was, I said, I had a lot of problems, and maybe just my opinion, with the show around the 4th season, where it really started to feel like they were spinning their wheels after a while. They spent too much time in the prison. It was starting to get really dull, and they really weren't making a lot of progress with the show. But I stayed true to it. I said, you know what, these are still some great characters. I saw some character development, but things were moving at a very slow pace, and I wasn't really enjoying the show all that much. I was getting more entertainment from shows like Gotham at the time, and I kind of really, was starting to get turned off by it. But, they made strides, they improved it, and, right now, like I said, I think I'm enjoying this show more than any other time. I mean, like I said, it may be due to Jeffrey Dean Morgan's performance. I think it has a lot to do with that. I think it has a lot to do with the development of these characters. And then just finding the right storyline that really just, did this whole Savior versus Alexandria thing was just awesome. And it was played out in such a way that, I don't know, every episode they always left a cliffhanger, something new was being introduced. And this, okay. So, big time spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen it yet. They have captured Negan. They have defeated the Saviors. Rick has, he slit the throat of Negan, but has decided to keep him alive. And what they're going to do is they said they want to lock him up, and they want to make him an example as he sees that they build this new community, because now the Saviors have been invited to live alongside the Alexandrians, and, and they can live together and create a new society, because this is something that they never really talked about. Life after the apocalypse. What happens now? You know, like we know about this thing now that it's like it's always been a different world, because now, I mean, now the dead kind of runs it, and you know, the majority of the world's population has pretty much died off, and even, you know, it's a whole different landscape. But now they're talking about rebuilding it and kind of getting it back to the way how it was, like what comes after, Rick says. And that's interesting, because I don't think a lot of us really thought about that. You know, we've kind of thought about the show in terms of how the characters will live in this world, but after this is all said and done, and they maybe get it under control, I mean, of course, the virus is still always there. So, I mean, that is something that they've kind of danced around that in a way. You know, they like what really has caused this, and I guess maybe that's kind of what they want to go for in Fear the Walking Dead. But I'm sorry, I just don't get any entertainment out of Fear the Walking Dead. I'm sorry, but I still consider that show to be somewhat of a cash-in. It's like a secondary show to me. It's not really a show that entertains me, and it's a show that's not really so focused so much, I think, on character development. It's more just on kind of just having a supplemental show. And so, whatever, if they maybe one day get around to that, I might check out those episodes. But you know, that's really the only question I really have, is like, I want to know, like, what really caused this virus, and because we never really got an answer to that, and that's kind of like one of the great mysteries of this show. But anyway, they're trying to rebuild. But the thing is about this now is the cliffhanger that they left us with at the end. Maggie is now very unhappy that Rick has decided to keep Negan alive, because this, after all, is the man who killed her husband. You see how emotional she got, and that was also a really great performance. Maggie loses her shit. She is furious at Rick, and she, you know, screaming at him, you know, no, you know, kill him, don't let Sadiq heal him. And I thought that was a great part. That was powerful. That really showed how much she cared about Glenn, how much she hated Negan. You could see the raw hatred. She wanted to see that man die. She wanted to see him bleed out. She wanted to see probably Rick stab him a few more times in the throat. But then you see at the end, they switch back to the hilltop, and Maggie is talking to Jesus, and she's talking to Daryl. And, you know, that last part with Daryl just kind of walking out of the shadows, that was, you know, pretty powerful stuff, where they pretty much just say, like, they're keeping their eye on Rick. And it seems like they want to kill Rick. I mean, they don't like the decision that he made. And this is pretty big. I mean, here you have two main characters, you know, Maggie and Daryl, and they're now, you know, they're unhappy with Rick. They don't like his leadership, and they are, you know, because Maggie now's kind of come into her own as a leader. You know, they've kind of, you see the different ideologies kind of piling up. You know, and Maggie really just wanted to see Negan die, and Rick was more just fulfilling the wishes of Carl, not wanting to see Negan die, but, you know, more kind of like leading to something. There being a bigger purpose with this whole Savior War. So the way they go about that in season 9, I mean, I just can't believe that I'm so excited about a season that's so late in the show's history. I mean, usually by like the 8th or 9th season of a show, the show has actually jumped the shark. I mean, that usually at that point, the show has overstayed its welcome. Usually shows will just start kind of showing us silly stuff. They'll start being desperate. They'll start, you know, doing things out of the ordinary for characters. And I mean, this might be out of the ordinary for Maggie, but it kind of leads into things. We can see now that Maggie is kind of snapped now. She didn't get her way. You know, they had their moment there to kill Negan, and now he's just kind of captured but being kept alive. And, you know, I really thought that was a great way to end it. I mean, if you're going to make us wait to the end of the year, there's nothing better than seeing two friends, or now former friends, you know, and you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, you know, we saw a little bit of Daryl and Rick, kind of getting into a little, fight at the first part of the 8th season. They did have like a few seconds of a little scrap there. They were fighting, but now we might get to see one big epic battle. I mean, we're going to see the hilltop now, and we might see Maggie eventually become a Negan. I mean, how interesting would that be? I mean, like I said, I'm looking forward to this. One hell of a cliffhanger. This is one show, like I said, it's kind of surprising at how good it is so much later on into the show's history. That is very rare when you see that. Most shows have ended by this point, by the way. This is very, very rare. Like when a show makes it past the 5th or 6th season, it's usually long done. But Walking Dead, that's just kind of a testament to how powerful the show is and how well written it is. And you can see that they really improved the show. The more they improved on the characters, the more they've built on them. The show has improved over time. I'm extremely happy to see that, and greatly looking forward to Season 9 when it comes out. And I will be here to review that very first episode for that season premiere. Alright guys, until next time.